Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here. So, it is time for the next episode of Movie Didn't Need a Sequel. And today, guys, I'm probably going to cover probably another really big example of a movie did not need a sequel. And this time, guys, it's going to be for a movie directed by one of my favourite directors of all time, Paul Verhoeven. And no, it's not RoboCop because I've already covered it in this series as a movie which, in my opinion, should have won as a standalone movie. This is another movie he's done, actually, guys, released in 1992. And this is actually a neo-noir thriller movie. And this is, of course, a movie which, in my opinion, should have only worked as a standalone movie too, just like RoboCop. And this movie, guys, is none other than 1992's Basic Instinct. So, yeah, now, this is a really great movie, in my opinion, guys. I really love Basic Instinct. One of Paul Verhoeven's greatest works, in my opinion. And so far, probably my third favourite movie he's done behind RoboCop and Starship Troopers. And, yeah, this is just a really great movie, and you have great performances from people like Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone, George Lazenda, Jeanne Tripplehorn, and Wayne Knight, and many other great actors in this movie. And the story is also really good as well, because it involves a murder investigation, and it's definitely a very great movie following, of course, the San Francisco police detective Nick Curran, played by Michael Douglas. That's my favourite role of Michael Douglas, and this is definitely a really great film, guys, and the movie had a very good ending, which had no sequel baiting whatsoever at all. All it ends is with Nick meeting Sharon Stone's character Catherine, and they, of course, and end on a high note of them discussing their future together. So yeah, it ends on a happy ending for them, pretty much, really. So yeah, discussing their future, pretty much, yeah. Great way to close the story right there. But then, of course, sadly, however, the idea of Basic Instinct being a standalone movie was very unfortunately deemed not to be. Because, what was it, 14 years, way too damn late, we got an absolutely abominable sequel, guys, which was made without the involvement of Paul Verhoeven and was directed instead by Michael Caton Jones. And that was none other than 2006's Basic Instinct 2. Oh my god, right? Talk about one of the all-time worst sequels in cinematic history I've ever seen in my life. This sequel was pure garbage from start to finish. What the actual hell was this movie? I have no clue what it was at all. It was absolutely terrible, in my opinion, guys. Made without Paul Verhoeven's involvement, and this movie was abominable. And, this is one of those few films, guys, as well, where, in my opinion, there is absolutely no redeeming qualities whatsoever. None at all. Because, what is good about it? Seriously, there's nothing good about Basic Instinct 2 at all. And this is a movie which myself and one of my very close YouTube friends, Don G. Corleone, like to refer to as basically it stinks too. Yeah, basically it stinks too. Because, yeah, this movie stinks. Because it's absolutely abominable. What this movie does, right, so the sequel basically pretty much ignores almost all the events of the original movie. The only way it connects is by having Sharon Stone come back as Catherine. Yeah, she comes back to reprise her role in this, and this movie really ruined Catherine beyond all belief, guys. And the characters in this movie are all extremely boring as hell, so lifeless, especially when new ones introduced. Why would you get people in this like David Morrissey or David Thewlis? Why? You're wasting great actors right there. And also the character called, who is called Dr. Michael Glass, played by David Morrissey. Oh my god, right? One of the most boring characters I've ever seen, and one of the worst all-time characters I've ever seen in my life. Really was. Goodness me. This was just absolutely terrible. Really was. And I feel bad for David Morrissey as well, because he's a great actor. I feel bad for the whole cast, pretty much, really. You know, people like Sharon Stone and David Thewlis and David Morrissey and everyone else, really. And also, as well, the movie also has tons of countless plot holes everywhere, and the story is extremely confusing and makes absolutely no sense at all. And The movie also overdoes what made the first movie so good, because the first movie balanced all its themes out really well, in my opinion, but the sequel does it far too much, and it's unbearable in my opinion. And also as well, the pacing for this movie is absolutely dreadful. It really is beyond all belief, because, right, this movie, guys, is about 114 minutes, right? 114. And it's 14 minutes shorter than the original movie. Yeah, it's 14 minutes shorter than the first movie. And what is so dumb is it feels longer than the first movie. It actually feels like it's double its runtime to be about 4 hours, because the pacing is so slow in this movie. And when you're watching it, you're just thinking, oh my god, how much longer is left? Because it's so insanely boring as hell. Goodness me. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous how slow this movie is. I mean, it's shocking that, because there's many films I've seen which are like 3 hours or more in their runtime, and they don't feel as long as this movie at all. For example, The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, and also, of course, the extended versions of the Middle-earth movies by Peter Jackson. They don't feel as long as this at all, in my opinion. Neither does Avengers Endgame, for an MCU movie, or say as well The Godfather of a trilogy, which are pretty long movies. Or also as well Heat, the heist movie, or even The Wolf of Wall Street, and also Braveheart. There's tons of films I could say which have like a runtime of like, you know, nearly or more than 3 hours long, and they have great pacing. Even the Snyder Cut, which is 4 hours long, is greatly paced as well, in my opinion. But this movie is just insanely boring, really is. And also as well, when it comes to Nick Curran, guys, thankfully he does not return in this sequel, because I'm pretty sure, just like Catherine, he'd have also been ruined too. But thankfully, when the sequel got announced, Michael Douglas said he would not be returning. So yeah, he definitely did the right thing there, because he dodged a bullet. He really did. Because I can only bet that if he came back in this sequel, his character would have been ruined beyond all belief. But thankfully, he did not return. But what's stupid is that, you know, is that his character's not even mentioned in this movie, so they make out he doesn't exist, which is pretty ridiculous. So like, come on, you have Catherine back, so why couldn't you at least give her a knowledge of Nick? Like, that's ridiculous. And this movie also pretty much ruined the careers of people involved in this, almost. For example, the director of this movie, his career was crippled because of this. And furthermore, when it comes to Sharon Stone, since this movie, she's only gone on to make supporting roles in independent films and special guest appearances in TV shows, pretty much due to a failure of this movie. So yeah, poor Sharon. And one of the screenwriters of this movie, called Henry Bean, has not written another mainstream movie since 2007. So yeah, ouch. And also the production company C2 Pictures shut down 2 years after this movie. So yeah, look what's happened. When it comes to David Morrissey, guys, he was pretty depressed after seeing the negative reviews for this movie, because this movie had a universally negative reviews. Yeah, because it was panned on release, and yeah, rightfully so. And David Morrissey was depressed seeing the reviews, so much so that he nearly quit acting. But thankfully, however, he decided to continue acting, because he saw this movie's negativities as a chance to learn. And thankfully, since this movie, he's gone to play much better received roles. For example, I love him in Doctor Who as Jackson Wake, and also, of course, my favourite role of his is the Governor in The Walking Dead. So thankfully, since then, he's had better received roles, thankfully. So yeah. Because like I said, guys, he's a great actor, but sadly he wasted time for this movie, just like the other cast members too. I, of course, also prefer David Thewlis and other things too as well. For example, of course, as Lupin in Harry Potter, and also as Ares in Wonder Woman. And there's many other great roles he's done. He's a great actor as well. And yeah. And Sharon Stone, in my opinion, was better in the original movie. So yeah. Honestly, this sequel, however, was pure garbage. It really was one of the all-time worst sequels I've ever seen in my life. You know, like I said, guys, it's an example of a sequel where there's no redeeming qualities whatsoever. That's how bad it is. It's just absolutely awful beyond all belief. So, it's a really big shame that Paul Verhoeven's made films which have had, you know, unnecessary sequels, isn't it? Because with RoboCop, we had 2 unnecessary sequels. 2, in my opinion, was okay, but 3 was garbage. And then this movie, basically, Instinct, of course, had a garbage sequel. So, yeah. And thankfully, due to this movie getting so many negative reviews, thankfully a third movie's not happened. Thank God for that. Like, because if they did a third movie, I would not be watching it. Hell no. There's no way I'm going to watch it. Sharon has said she wouldn't mind doing a third movie recently, but I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to waste my time, because, yeah, watching the sequel was a complete waste of my time. Really was. There's no way I'm going to watch a third movie because this movie, in my opinion, was terrible. Like, seriously, guys, right? If I wasn't doing this video to explain why, in my opinion, Basic Instinct didn't need a sequel, I'd have turned the sequel off. I'd have probably turned it off, you know, probably about maybe way less than halfway because it was just awfully bad. It really was. It was so boring, and I nearly fell asleep watching it as well because it was so boring. Like, many scenes in this movie nearly bored me to sleep because it was so boring and nothing happened really at all. It was terrible. Like, the characters were just so boring and lifeless and not even likable, in my opinion. I didn't care about any of the characters in this movie. Yeah, I prefer Catherine way more in the first Basic Instinct, and the only one to me. Because in my opinion, guys, this is only a standalone movie. Just one to me, and that's it. So, yeah. And what's also very satisfying as well is that Paul Verhoeven himself even hated the sequel. And you know what? I can't blame him whatsoever because the sequel was just absolutely abominable. Yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah, he definitely has every right to hate the sequel because, yeah, it was garbage. Basically, it stinks. When it comes to what I own, guys, I, of course, will only ever own the original movie because, yeah, right here, guys, this is a steelbook of the original movie, a steelbook. So, yeah, and, like, I love this steelbook, and there's no way I'm ever going to, you know, add to it my collection of Basic Instincts. It's only going to consist of this movie alone. There is no way in damn hell I'm ever going to buy a sequel. Hell no. Because that sequel is abominable, really terrible in my opinion, and there's no way I'm ever going to own it. Absolutely not. Yeah, but one day though, guys, I will post a review for this movie, absolutely, because I definitely would love to review this movie one day, absolutely. It's a very good movie, in my opinion. And I will also one day post a trash talk of a sequel, which sadly means I got to rewatch it. Ugh. Oh, dear. But yeah, at least I'll be able to provide a rant on my channel, won't I? So yeah, in its trash talk. So yeah. So guys, this is me doing the next episode of Movie Didn't Need a Sequel, and today, guys, I was covering why, in my opinion, Basic Instinct by Paul Verhoeven did not need a sequel. So you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, videos are content what you guys think of Basic Instinct. Do you think you need a sequel or not? Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can sign into me, or you can do a description, and I'll see you all later.